Anyway, Power Rangers Zeo started out pretty good, but what really made the series special was the return of Austin St. John, the actor that played Jason. He becomes the Gold Ranger about halfway through the series, but towards the end he loses his Gold Ranger powers due to really bizarre reasons of energy or something they claim. Well, anyway, in Zeo it saw them fight pretty much the whole Zeo season was like a one huge reboot of the show. New Rangers, new costumes. Oh, I forgot to mention. Also, at the end of season 3 of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers show, Kimberly quits the show and is replaced by Kat, played by Catherine Hilliard, an Australian chick. She's probably the second hottest Pink Ranger, second only to Kimberly. So anyway, she becomes the Pink Zeo Ranger. Tanya, who replaced Aisha, becomes the Yellow Zeo Ranger. Rocky becomes the new Blue Zeo Ranger. Adam becomes the new Green Zeo Ranger. And Tommy becomes the new Red Zeo Ranger. And of course, Jason, like I said, later on becomes the Gold Zeo Ranger. The whole season was just a season of new reboots. And instead of fighting Rita and Zed actually are driven from their castle fortress by the Machine Empire, led by King Mondo. King Mondo is pretty much the main villain throughout the whole Zeo saga. The Zeo saga pretty much goes on with the 6 Zeo Rangers fighting the Machine Empire, and Tommy coming to terms with being the new leader because he's still a little inexperienced, despite leading the team at the second half of Season 2 and the entire Season 3. After they finally crush the Machine Empire at the end of the season, Billy decides to go back to Aquitar with all the Aquitarian Rangers, I guess you want to call them, the Alien Rangers, whatever. Although in reality, Billy wanted to leave the show. The actor that played Billy, David Yost, wanted to leave the show because, I don't know, I think they say he demanded more money and wanted a bigger part, which they refused to give him, because he was getting too old. You could really tell that by the end of the Zeo season, that he was way older than the other characters. Heck, I think he was even in his early 30s when the series ended. And you could kind of tell that because the others were in their early 20s. So, after Zeo ended, they decided to continue the series because, well, Rita and Zed were still around. A lot of fans assumed that they would return in the next season, but nope. What we got was a full-fledged movie, Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, was released in early 1997 to a very poor box office and critical performance. But when they released it on VHS and, I guess more recently, DVD, it sold extremely well in the rental stores. It ended the Zeo series and began the new season, Power Rangers Turbo, and saw them fighting the new villain, the evil space pirate Divatox, played by Hilary Shepard Turner. Divatox, in my opinion, is probably one of the worst villains ever, but at least you could tell that the actress, Hilary Shepard Turner, had a lot of fun with playing the part. So at least she's enjoying it, you could tell that. So it brings a little fun to the part and at least makes it watchable. The Turbo movie, in a nutshell, is just pretty much them giving up their Zeo powers for good in place of these new Turbo powers. However, Rocky leaves the show because in the movie, Rocky suffers a back injury, and he leaves the show. He is then replaced by a 12-year-old kid named Justin, played by actor Blake Foster. Yes, a 12-year-old kid joins a group of teenagers as the new Power Rangers. What was funny is, when you see him become the Power Ranger, they claim that your morpher is equipped with a special power that makes you grow to the same size as the other Rangers. I mean, come on, that was so fake. So anyway, the movie was okay. It saw the final appearances of Jason and Kimberly. Well, Kimberly anyway, because Jason returned for one more episode a couple years later. So anyway, the Turbo movie segued into the TV series Power Rangers Turbo, which saw pretty much the rest of the Zeo cast, with the exception of Rocky, who I said left the show and was replaced by Justin. Turbo is viewed by most fans as being the absolute worst season, and I don't blame them. Turbo really was lame. I mean, just watch a couple of the episodes. There's one where one of them gets turned into a vampire, one of them's pet dog gets turned into a human. It's actually pretty lame. I'm not kidding. Just watch a few episodes of it. However, there are those that do like the show. There are those fans that do like the show, but unfortunately, I'm not one of them. Also, halfway through the series, in a very, very, very controversial move that still offers debate to this day, the entire Power Rangers cast, with the exception of Justin, was replaced. Yeah. Every Power Ranger, with the exception of Justin, gets replaced about halfway through the series. The studios claimed that they were too old. However, the actors that replaced them were actually just like a year or two younger than they were. Tommy, the Red Turbo Ranger, is replaced by TJ, played by Selwyn Ward, the first ever African American Red Ranger. Justin is still the Blue Turbo Ranger, much to most fans' dismay. Adam is replaced by Carlos, played by Roger Velasco, as the new Green Turbo Ranger. Tanya is replaced by Ashley, played by Tracy Lynn Cruz, as the new Yellow Turbo Ranger. She's also the hottest Turbo Ranger, by the way. Hottest Yellow Ranger ever. And Kat is replaced by Cassie, played by Patricia Jolie, as the new Pink Turbo Ranger. This lineup pretty much lasts throughout the series. Also, shortly after the series, I believe around the same time, actually a little bit prior to the episode where they had the big cast change, Zordon actually leaves the series, claiming he's going home to his planet of Eltar along with Alpha 5. They are replaced by Demetria, who, as it turns out, is Divatox's sister, and Alpha 5 is replaced by Alpha 6, who pretty much looks exactly the same, just slightly different, but very few people notice them. The only real difference between Alpha 5 and Alpha 6 is the voice. So anyway, Turbo, while Turbo may have sucked, it probably had one of the best and most shocking endings to any TV season. Here's what happens in a nutshell. Zordon's planet of Eltar is getting attacked, and he really needs help, because with all his power, he's still on life support. So Demetria goes to save Zordon, so it's up to the 5 Power Rangers and Alpha to help fight Divatox. Divatox's henchmen, Elgar and can't remember who the other guy was, eventually discover the command center, and they attack the Rangers and actually destroy that command center too. The Rangers decide to fake their death, and right when Divatox is about to start conquering Earth, since she finally defeated the Power Rangers, she is stopped by a mysterious messenger. The messenger tells her to go to the Banquet of Evil, which is organized by the guy who supposedly has orchestrated all the previous seasons. The main villain, kind of like the devil of the series, Dark Spectre. Divatox and her henchmen all eventually leave to go to this mysterious banquet, while the Turbo Rangers lose their powers. They eventually hijack a space shuttle, and they all take off with it. However, Justin stays behind to stay with his dad. This segues into the next season, which wrapped up 6 seasons of plot, and is also regarded as one of the best seasons ever by fans. This season was Power Rangers in Space. I'm going to stop right here for now, and well, I'm going to make a second part to this where I wrap up the Zordon storyline, which ends with in space, and go on to the more modern version of the Power Rangers. If you like this video, please comment or something. I guess I went on a little too long. And there's a link in the description box for a guy named Wild Tony RP. He's posted every single Power Ranger episode from the very first season of Mighty Morphin all the way up to the first 15 episodes of Power Rangers Time Force, which came out in 2001. More on the more recent seasons later on, guys. Catch you later.